Zoobox is working. Zoobox is working. Vitality forever.
Zoobox, is that you?
Who's Zoobox? I don't know who that is.
Vitality forever.
Little relaxed live stream, a daytime live stream, an autumnal live stream. It's a nice, wet, rainy New England day, chilly, late September, bad connection, drinking a coffee, nice hot, piping hot coffee. It's not just a lewd, it's also a goddess, okay? All of the vitality. What's going on, everybody out there in Zoobox land? We are going to do another cozy daytime review. Sean gave me the go to review the Turtles Cowabunga collection. One of the reasons that I'm doing this is to draw a little more attention to the Zoobox reviews that are already on the channel. The Zoobox channel, between Zoobox and Zoobox Forever, I think there's over 700 videos, movie reviews, shows, books, weird internet stuff, old Zoobox episodes that have the old cast with Dan, Sean's brother. There's all kinds of stuff in that archive, so I'm kind of trying to spice it up a little bit and bring a little more attention to that while also feeding my own narcissistic endeavors and getting in front of the camera. I can't do it very much right now because it's my busy season, so I'm having to kind of pull back and do less, do shorter shows and stuff. But I wanted to review this Turtles Cowabunga collection. Not the game so much, but what's been going on surrounding the game, the culture, the vibe surrounding the game. I caved in and got myself it the other night. Felt bad about treating myself. Sometimes I work myself really hard and then I treat myself and I'm like, oh yeah, I got kids. I should have bought them something. So anyway, I went back and played all this, and I've been combing through all the reviews and stuff of it that are out there, all the nerds doing their unboxings and stuff. And I wanted to do a quick little 20-minute or half-hour wrap-up of it. So what is the Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection? I'd say it's kind of a digital museum, to use a phrase that one of the random videos that I watched today and yesterday used. It's a digital museum of all the Ninja Turtles games from the late 80s to the late 90s. And there's not all of them, but like 13 of them. And it's a very extensive collection. There's actually a couple of games where there's multiple versions of the game because they're slightly different across different platforms. And it's all just there, preserved in posterity. It's got a sort of archive that goes along with the games. Take a look at, and it's got a couple of different special features that kind of tie it all together and make it a very cohesive, contextual bundle. One of the things that I read was a quote from the people who were putting it together. I think it was somebody was talking about how what makes this important is the context. Like some of the thing with game reissues is that sometimes they lose the original context of the game, like the time that it was in, and the promotional materials and the manuals and all that sort of tactile, physical stuff you lose in this reissue. That's basically just that game that you love shipped back out again. And what this sort of endeavors to do is tie that all together in a very cohesive way so that you can play all these games you enjoy with really snazzy enhancements for the modern day. And you can dance around these games very quickly. The menus are very, very liquid and very easy to breeze through. And even though there's 13 games, there's not one linear list ever that you get to choose the game from. You have to like shuffle through comic pages, but you can do it all very quickly. Last night, I challenged myself to play every single game on it for at least a minute. And before this review is over, I'll talk about each one. But you can breeze through the games incredibly quickly. It's very convenient. There's no load screens. It's very well done. So let's take a look first at the trailer for the Cowabunga collection. DJ, cut the beat. Whoops, we're going to skip back a little bit.
Rated T for teen.
Just the music is very nostalgic. It takes me right back to, I remember very distinctly when the Nintendo version of the arcade game came out, which was considered number 2. It was the sequel to the first game, that really, really hard first game. I remember it being one of the first times in my life to be really, really excited to wake up early. And I woke up at like 5:30 in the morning before everybody else in the house, just so I could plug in that fresh new game and get to it before my brothers and have like an hour to myself of just hammering out the Ninja Turtles arcade game at home. Because I grew up in a time where there were actually arcades. I was talking to this guy at my part-time job. I go in on one day a week and cut at this grocery store. And I was talking to a kid who works there who's like only 8 years younger than me, but he didn't remember any of these games. He totally missed them. And he had never been to an arcade like as a kid. And I mean, I remember sitting at the arcade with Street Fighter and all those classics, like pumping quarters into the machines. And, you know, the Ninja Turtles was, I remember the Nintendo version was out, and it was like that blocky, you know, version that you could see, you know, it was like a above screen and then a side scroller as you went through the buildings. You'll see it in here. And if you played it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then in the arcade at the same time was what you're seeing now in front of you, where it was like a more fast-paced beat 'em up. And when they brought that home to the Nintendo, it was very exciting. And I remember that specific morning in my life. If I ever get amnesia or dementia, I will probably still, one of my last memories will be waking up on that morning. I hope to relive it several times in my demented state. Waking up on that morning in the yellow house that we lived in New Jersey, and plugging that in and having an hour to myself of just like knocking out some fucking Foot Clan. And this song, you know, this music is iconically linked to that. All the gameplay footage, all the iconic games, Turtles in Time, the arcade game, the home versions of the game, the what was it? I can't remember because I never played it because we were a Nintendo house, not a Sega house, but the Hyperstone Heist, or whatever, which was like the Sega version of Turtles in Time, where they like basically if you were a Nintendo kid playing it now as an adult, or playing all these extra games that you didn't have as an adult. It's like having expansion packs for the games that you already loved. And, you know, they did a good job of going through all the consoles. They have the 3 different Game Boy games on here, which watching Game Boy games on a modern TV screen is absolutely murder to the eyes. The first 2 games are actually not that great. The 3rd Game Boy game is actually really good. One day when I have time, hopefully in my dotage, I'll play it all the way through. But what the Game Boy games pointed out was this feature that they have where you can put on different screen filters to make it look like a monitor or like an LCD screen, like a Game Boy screen or a TV screen. And I found it to be very annoying and distracting on the games that were originally made to be on the TV. Like they look great on a modern TV, so why make them look worse? But then when you play the Game Boy games on the modern TV, that looks horrible because it's so overblown and so like over pixelated. When you add the filters to it, it actually kind of adds a different texture to it that does make it play a little better on the home screen. The real host says, "Nerds love this stuff." Yeah, we'll scroll through the YouTube in a second and look at all the people unboxing. The faces that they make are pretty impressive. So this is a smash hit for them. Everybody across the board basically loves this. And hold on one second. It's been a real big hit. It's been the second hit because they also earlier in the year unleashed something called the Shredder's Revenge or something that was like a tribute game to all those other games. It sold really well and did really well, and I can't justify spending another $30 on that. We'll have to get to that a little later on. But look at this is the I was going to watch some of these unboxing videos, but I'm not going to. I'm just gonna, is it big enough? Let me make it a little bigger. Take myself completely out of the equation so you can just see it. So I was going to watch some of these unboxing videos, but you get the idea. Look at these guys. All of these fucking nerds complaining that they spent $150 on this cheap bric-a-brac. It's like a little, it's not even pewter. It's, what's that plastic stuff? It's a plastic stand that has some turtle statue, like some turtle, like flat turtle statue thing. It's a cheap cloth banner. It's a book that everybody complains is too small. An art book that nobody likes, that everybody wishes was something else. That this guy up here, when you watch this dude's video, the only thing that he enjoys is the April O'Neil dressed up as a cheerleader sketch. He literally starts panting to it like a hog that just saw grain. And let me see if there's even anybody over in Odyssey. So if you just scroll through these guys, you will see this just total menagerie of nerds being completely disappointed with spending an extra $110 for like a couple of cheap pins, a cloth banner, a box, some other garbage, like a book that they're not even happy with. And it's just endless. It's endless, dude. Like, if you type in Cowabunga collection, there are hundreds of these. I bet everybody who got 95% of the people who got the special edition of this made a fucking unboxing video and are going to struggle to get 1,000 views on it. Trust me, I know. This is one of them. Making them right now. You know what I'm trying to do for Sean? I'm trying to make him
$3 million.
Quite frankly, I think he owes me
$3 million.
You know what Sean's doing right now? If he's watching this. So anyway, yeah, if you want to treat yourself to a laugh, go see these nerds unboxing videos. I was gonna pick them apart, but I don't have time. I'm fucking working today. This is just doing this on my lunch. I'm eating some nice chocolate pancakes for lunch. Thank you, Caitlin, and some coffee. We're gonna have some barbecue goat with mac and cheese tonight. I love a woman who can throw a whole chopped up goat in an Instapot and make dinner out of it for a week. All right. So I talked about these menus. I'll share the screen again because I don't have an 8K setup like Sean. You know how much Sean spent on his setup?
$3 million.
You know what I did when I walked in the room and I saw Sean's setup? Anyway, so we're going to talk about these menus. The menus are really fluid, and DJ, cut the beat. Let's go full screen on this. This should be a presentation of the intro and the game select menus. So this was done, okay. I didn't want to show that logo. I didn't want to. Zoobox is an anti-pedophile program. I didn't want to show that logo that was just on the screen. Digital Eclipse is the company that put this all together. So praise be to Digital Eclipse. Inshallah to them. So we got the classic intro with a different song because they couldn't license it. So we're going into the menu screen. Very, very vintage, very, very nostalgic. Down to the arcade sound. So you pass through this comic book, all the artwork. You get to pass through all this and take a look at all of it. All the borders in the game are great. It lets you set different definitions for the size of the screen. Get to pick out all the games. Once this plays through, I'll go through and talk about each game individually, and then we'll call it a stream. So you can see that everything's just real fluid. You flip in and out of these menus and all the extra menus and all the different games extremely quickly. So you can be playing this game 1 second, knock out a level quickly, hit save, and then in 6 other seconds be in this other game. All the games are presented like as they were, but like there are really cool enhancements. Like you can turn off the sprite flashing and stuff. Like you literally see what, like that sprite flashing that's happening right there. You could turn that off. Not that you'd want to, because it kind of makes it a little too smooth. You want that vintage feel when you're playing it. But it gives you all kinds of crazy options like that. Just cool. It's something to think about, as David Pakman would say. All right, I'm going to turn that down a little bit. We'll play it again, and I'm going to talk about all the different games. So, yeah, I mean, you're a nerd if you're here. That includes you, Sean. Speaking of Sean in the chat, he says, of course he does. So, LOL. Good, I got him to laugh. Fuck, I wish. He's a $3 million setup, dude. Terminator 2 remake. Green screen in. Eddie Furlong just off of it. Just have him refilm his scenes on TikTok through Cameo. Oh, yeah, we got to do Terminator 3, too, because we got to fix Terminator 3. Also have to hire Corey Feldman to redub all of his lines for Ninja Turtles 2. Real host, they should have added a lady turtle. They've done that a couple of different times. What? You think girls don't play games, bro? What the fuck, man? WTF? Look into Venus de Milo. If you're a real nerd, you know about Venus de Milo. And there's also a new one who has like a yellow bandana with like Wolverine claws. If you're a real nerd, you know that. Sean also says, this guy didn't stream last night, so he could play this. Nerd. I played this for about 20 minutes. Actually, maybe about a half hour after I worked. I worked super late. Then I played this. I'm going to work super late again tonight. Maybe you should stream, Sean. Maybe you entertain me. Okay. Nerd. I was only playing it for about a half hour, and I got a lot of juice out of it. That's kind of why I was excited to do this little review, because this was actually really fun, and it was really, like, I was looking for a game that I could just hop into for like 15, 20 minutes after work to put my brain to sleep. Sean said I'm going to stream this game, I think. Dude, you should. Actually, you know what? It has a multiplayer option, so you, me, and Paul should all pick a different turtle and like go in and do like a multiplayer game and stream that. Twitch stream, Zoobox Twitch stream. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I was looking for a game that I could really unwind quickly with after work. I kind of abandoned the Fallout games because I'm so busy right now. And in Fallout, you can't even put your fucking pants on without it taking 45 minutes. So I kind of switched to the Batman Arkham games, but even that is kind of like a little too involving. So when this came out, I was like, this is an arcade game. This is something you could hop into and play for 5 minutes and then be done, and hop into it for another 5 minutes the next night, and it be just as engaging. These games are just as engaging and just as difficult 30 years later. That first one, the Ninja Turtles NES game, is so fucking hard, dude. I got clobbered. All 4 of my turtles just got clobbered as soon as I went in there. The real host says, not the version I, quote unquote, acquired. I acquired mine I'm not gonna say. Ryoho says, "I hear you. The quick hit games are all I play these days." Yeah, and this is just an entire library of them, and it's really, really satisfying. Hold on a second. I was on a different page. I paused on something. That was not as interesting as the page that I was on. So anyway, this is I'm going to go through and just talk about all the games individually, and then we'll call it. One of the other cool things that it has is this replay feature that's only like 6 seconds. Like you can go back like 6 seconds in the game. And it sounds like it's such a wonderful cheat. It sounds like I couldn't do much, but it can make the game even more addicting because you can just go back quickly and like fix all your mistakes or fuck them up even worse. Try a bunch of different things. The other thing is before we get into the game, there's a section called the Turtles Lair that has all the extra content, music, pictures from the cartoons and stuff, promotional stuff from all the various games, and all the manuals are scanned in there. It has a whole strategy guide for each individual game that gives me strategies that I didn't even, it's been 30 years since the first time I played this game. Some of this shit I've never even known. And it's as far as extra bonus menus go, it's something you can get lost in a couple of times, I think, especially with the old manuals and stuff. As the creator had said, or one of the creators said in an interview in one of these clips that I watched, the context, the tactile context means a lot. And you can really feel that in this collection. It's very tight. It also has an expert playthrough function for each game. There's like a video you can watch of somebody just like clobbering the game. So you can go through and watch each, an expert play every single game and just like clobber it. So you know exactly what to do. That's pretty cool. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is, is this where it starts? Yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is the first arcade game. This is the one that you would go to the mall and pump your quarters in. And it's like that beat 'em up style. And it's that classic. It's insanely replayable. Will be forever. This is the Turtles in Time arcade game, which, while it looks a lot better than the home version, which is also on here, it actually doesn't play as good. The home version, this one here, Turtles 4 Turtles in Time, plays a lot better. The hits slap a lot harder. The graphics aren't as good, but the music is better. The gameplay is better. It's smoother. It's more engaging, and I don't know, just feels better in your hand. This is the Tournament Fighter one. They have all 3 of the Tournament Fighter ones on here, I guess. Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and regular Nintendo. This is the regular Super Nintendo one. The Super Nintendo one looks the best, and it plays okay. Oh man, I fucked it up. But it's a pretty milquetoast fighting game. It kind of reminded me of Clay Fighter. You know what I mean? It had like that feeling and that dynamic. Which, no diss to Clay Fighter. The Hyperstone Heist was also was the Sega. Oh yeah, it was the Turtles in Time on the Sega. They didn't actually go through time. They like went on this other thing. I've never played it before, but I started playing it, and it was actually really fun. For me, it feels like a DLC pack to Turtles in Time, which is very exciting. But I mean, there are people who've been playing it for 30 years. This is the other Tournament Fighters. This is the one from, it looks like the Sega edition. It's actually pretty shitty from what I played and from what people say. It's not as good as the Super Nintendo version in any regard. I literally only played it for a minute, so I couldn't tell you. This is the classic game. This is the one that me and my brothers used to fight over and try to yell at each other about the strategies being used to get through. This is one of the, as far as I'm concerned, it's one of the hardest and best video games of all time. And it's presented here perfectly because it just is what it is. And then the little enhancements that it gives you for it. Actually, I think this game in particular doesn't have many enhancements. But It's like perfect video game. So frustratingly hard. Especially to a modern, like playing modern video games are so hand holding and so, and switch the difficulty settings and shit. And this is Turtles 2, the arcade game. This was the home version. This was the one that I got up at 5:30 in the morning to play. So when they made the home version of the arcade game, they billed it as the sequel to the regular Nintendo version. And that, again, is like another one of the greatest video games of all time. That and the arcade game both. They're both slightly different, but they share the same kind of beat-em-up dynamic. This is the Manhattan Project. I didn't play this one a lot when I was a kid because I just didn't like it. I don't like the mechanics of the way they used the turtles to fight. And I wondered as an adult why it never stuck out in my brain. I never even remembered what the third game was because I knew that Turtles in Time was the fourth game. But now I remember, and it's just not a great game. It's kind of like an expansion pack for the Nintendo, the second, whatever. You understand. It's an expansion pack for the game that came before it, and it's not a great one. The Nintendo version of Tournament Fighters is actually the best one out of the ones that I played. It's the most difficult and had the best combat. Worst graphics, but it's very charming. It's like playing a version of Ninja Gaiden where you just fight each other. That weird thing, though, that weird thing like drops stuff out on you during the game, and I don't know what that does. I had no context. I couldn't make it do anything or work, but I only played the game for a couple of minutes. Okay, so here are the Game Boy games, and these are kind of the worst games, at least these first two. I think part of it is that playing them on a big screen is really, really hard on the eyes, even if you format it to be exactly like you were playing it on the Game Boy. And this second one has like a really off-putting visage. Like the turtles in this one like have this really weird oofy-doofy like look on their face. And they're like oofy-doofy maxing, and it's really kind of gross and weird. And the game itself is like kind of frustrating, but it also could be just the formatting. Like I couldn't get over the graphics and stuff. Sean says the Hyperstone Heist is the one I grew up with, a Sega kid. My buddy down the street was a Sega kid. So I got to go down there, and I really appreciated some of the Sega CD offerings that he had, like the Jurassic Park Sega CD game was the shit, but I had to go down to his house to play it. Okay, this is Turtles 3 Radical Rescue. This was the one that actually is pretty dope. It's like very Metroid, and I actually would play this one day when I have some more time, or maybe it could just be one of those 15-minute blow-off, 15 minutes a night, knock out a little bit more, because you can save at any moment. You can just save, go back, hop back into the game. There's even, things where you can pick the different levels that you want to go to if you want to practice on different levels. So basically gives you the game's vanilla and then allows you to open them up and do all kinds of Game Genie type shit. I did hear one nerd complaining that they didn't have actual Game Genie cheats on it, though, so he was very, very dismayed at that. Seriously, go and watch some of the reviews of this stuff that the nerds do. And then the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, okay, then it goes back to the beginning. Okay, so yeah, that's all 13 games, and that is basically it. Let's take it back to... So that is the Zoobox review of the Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection. I got to finish my lunch here and then get back to work. I'll probably actually just get back to work and eat it while I work. What do you think about that? Yeah, I mean, what is there not to recommend? The clickbaity title of this is clickbaity. There's not 5 reasons that it sucks. It's like some of the best. It's some of the best video games of all time that have ever been made, with one of the most incredible franchises that's ever been done. And it's all packaged together very tightly with a lot of respect to it, and people obviously done by people who really, really enjoyed the media in the first place. And you would be hard pressed to find anything that sucks about any of this except nitpicky nerd shit. But if you want to find that nitpicky nerd shit, just look for any review of this. Those incels will tear this game apart for any stupid reason. And they've been loving it for 35 years. It's absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, yeah. Clickbaity titles are clickbaity, man. Don't listen to it. Nothing wrong with these games. Get them. If you get this, it's a nice package. Keeps them all together. You get everything. Everybody out there saying the same thing. Just interested in having a easy thing to hop in and out of every night, or every other night, so I can relax in this damn world. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. This has been a cozy ZooBox review. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Thank you for tuning in, Sean. Before I go, I hope this is still in the chat. Success, prosperity, intuition, health, wealth, fun, money, good fortune, $10 million, and a miracle to you all. Can't promise you $10 million, but I can promise you
$3 million.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time on ZooBox. Oh, whoops. That was just me.
Settle back, fire up a Colortini, and watch the pictures as they fly through the air. Thanks for dialing us up, everybody.
ZooBox is working. ZooBox is working. Vitality forever.
ZooBox, is that you?
Who's Zoobox? I don't know who that is.
ZooBox, is that you?
Who's Zoobox? I don't know who that is.
ZooBox, is that you?
What the fuck kind of name is that?
Yo, ZooBox, what it do, baby? It's your boy, Ari Spears here. Going to win ZooBox and persevere.
The ZooBox is working.
I don't know what ZooBox means. I don't get it. Is this just some, obviously it's a code name of some kind.
ZooBox is working, man.
He says you a trash rapper.
Hey, man, I want to dress up like a bunny rabbit in the fuck.
That's all I gotta tell you, ZooBox. Come on, man. Chin up, find a place to smile, right?